Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to another F1 Fantasy Weekly. And that means it's time to round up all the fantasy kind of points and thoughts from last weekend, and also as it's in the middle of a triple header again, we get another preview, and we're not previewing Silverstone again this week. It is Circuit de Catalunya. We are off to the Spanish Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz home Grand Prix, and next year we will have two Spanish drivers back on the grid for it again. Nando! I have to get it in.
Yeah.
Spain.
Fine.
I got it talking.
Go for it.
Yeah, anyway, we're getting distracted. But F1 Fantasy Weekly. So in our preview episodes, what we will be doing today is we'll be rounding up the, top 5 point scorers in detail from the weekend. We will also be telling the rest of the scores of the drivers within there. We'll run through the top 5 constructors as well as kind of, giving a roundup of the top 5 in the league. God, we do love a top 5 here at F1 Fanatics. Boom! But then that pretty much wraps up the review, and, obviously we'll have discussions as we go along from there. We then move to the preview, Circuit de Catalunya, giving our top picks, our drivers to avoid, our turbo picks, and also me and Stephen will have our team before we give the entries to this week's Rate Your Team. Oh.
Go for it. No.
No, you...
I'm fine.
Oh, he's okay. No, he wasn't fine, but now he's okay. And then obviously, as always, we round off with a Kimi Moment of the week. And guys, hopefully you stay around and enjoy that. If you are new around here, don't forget you can subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification, and you can keep up to date with all the latest content, great content, just like this. As well as, obviously, we'll be streaming later tonight at 8:30. So make sure you kind of tune into that after you've watched this video. But that's enough admin-y waffle. Let's get into the business end of things. Stephen, the keeper of the spreadsheet, the master of the numbers.
I share it on Twitter now.
Statman. Steve Statman.
I share the knowledge.
He shares the knowledge.
The knowledge.
The knowledge is there.
Top 5. The best Mega Driver pick of the season so far. Lewis Hamilton, 54 points.
Could have been better, but it wasn't worse.
The second best Mega Driver of the season, Max Verstappen, 52 points. We both measured Lewis. We knew it could have been better, but still, with both streaks firing off, best mega pick of the season so far.
Could potentially Max Verstappen be the best Mega Driver pick this weekend in the Circuit de Catalunya with his race streak?
Probably not, because there's only one streak, but you never know. Number 3 is Charles Leclerc with 32 points, making his 3rd appearance in the top 5 this season in a Ferrari. Valtteri Bottas was joint with 32 points, obviously had his streaks firing off, but obviously lost positions, so that's why he's much lower than Lewis. And Alex Albon squeezes into the top 5 with 24 points.
Getting those overtake points again with Alex Albon, and yeah, he manages to be a consistent top 5 performer, but for his price, ain't worth it.
Not great. No big turbos for this week though. No,
there was a lot of disappointing performances. The Norris's and Ricciardo's performance didn't really translate to how it had looked the previous week.
No.
Which was disappointing to see, but it shows, just how unpredictable this fantasy game is. It is crazy on that front. But, Stephen, give us a roundup of everybody else's points.
Well, the best turbo pick was either Esteban Ocon or Lance Stroll, who both had 20 points. Then we had Lando Norris, 19 points. Daniel Kvyat, 16 points. Kimi, 15 points. Hulk, 12 points. Gio, 8 points. George Russell, 5 points. Roman Grosjean, 5 points. Daniel Ricciardo, 2 points. Pierre Gasly, 2 points. Sebastian Vettel, 2 points. Everyone loves 2 points, including Carlos Sainz, who also got 2 points. Nicholas Latifi got 1 point. And Sergio Perez didn't race. He's still on my list. He got 0 points, but he wasn't racing. And Kevin Magnussen rounds up the group with a solid -14, making him the lowest total scorer in the game.
K-Mag's hurt me, man.
Yeah.
He's hurting me.
I can't believe I followed the Haas train.
Can't believe he did it.
Led me down the wrong path. And Kevin Magnussen's had 2 terrible race results.
I'm sorry.
I've been always felt there.
I believed in K-Mag, but I'm sorry.
Nice. Shall I give you the top 5 constructors?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, that's what we do on the review, Stephen. Why not give the people what they're here to see?
So what do we say every week as your top picks?
Oh, pick Mercedes.
2 weeks now they're not top. Red Bull take the top spot this week with 66 points. Mercedes, second, so it's okay, 56 points, only 10 points there. And then Ferrari, third again. I think Mercedes were third. But they were like fourth. They had like 33 points. They had 29 points this week. Racing Point got 27. Alfa Romeo, 18. And that's your top 5. Alfa making it to the top 5. Not bad for them.
They seem to do reasonably well, which is weird because they don't get any points, but they seem to be doing good in Constructors points.
Exactly, yeah. It just somehow happens. Well, good 18 points.
Good old Kimi.
Can you call that good? Or,
I suppose. I suppose on that front.
Yes.
But, yeah, it was... Well, obviously, it hasn't been the best couple of weeks for me fantasy-wise, as the previous week, obviously, we had #NoSaveGame.
#NoSaveGame.
And this week, obviously, Ricardo Norris let me down. They didn't really do much. Kevin Magnussen retiring from the race let me down. George Russell did okay with 5 points. But, you know, for that price, you're always going to have the cheaper driver to make up things. But it's just a bit meh.
It was. We thought we could base the second week off the first week.
We were wrong.
But temperature,
don't do that.
Tyres, everyone fell apart who did well in the first week. And yeah, it was a real mixed bag. And we've stayed away from Racing Point because, yeah, there's now 3 teams protesting them, so...
Something might happen. Although, funnily enough, we'll get into, obviously, the preview later on who's in our teams. That may be slightly different in terms of that aspect.
I'm getting them in as my constructor.
Yeah, okay. No. But we move on to round off our top 5s in the top 5 review.
This makes my top 5 the top 5s.
Yes.
Top 5 Fantasy League Fanatics F1 Fantasy League.
Top 5
Number
people
1.
in the F1 Fanatics League.
Number 1, Scuderia Dinoco. Has he been number 1 for a few weeks now?
No, that it had been.
He's in the top 5 though. He's
Siberian Spinners.
He makes an appearance by Hate Ake. He had Mega Lewis, Turbo Norris. Worked out well. I turboed Danny Rick and obviously only got 4 points. Hulkenberg 12, Stroll 20, and Antonio Giovinazzi with Mercedes as his constructor. Then Binotto by D. Sirad is in second. He has Lewis, Norris, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Russell, Mercedes. Number 3 was Value Town. I hope his I don't know. Let us know what value your team is if you are watching this. By D. Phillips. He's got Lewis, Norris, Stroll, Gasly, Russell, Mercedes. Name like that. I'm hoping it is like really valuable, but I'm not sure.
Fingers crossed.
Number 5. Let me see if there's any draws. No, it is just the top 5 this week. Nope. I've skipped one. Number 4. McLaren are sick. Agree or disagree?
No, that's an F1 debate show series.
Oh, bam. By M. Booth. He had Lewis, Mega, Stroll, Russell, Norris, Ocon. Nice pick, it turns out. Mercedes as your constructor. And then number 5. Akshay Team 1 by A. Nick. I butchered your surname, I think.
We apologise for any names we say wrong on this show.
Probably needs some
and
more
by
flair.
we, I mean Stephen.
Probably needs more flair in there. Nike?
Yeah.
Okay. Lewis, Mega, Norris, Turbo, Hulkenberg, Russell, Stroll, Mercedes. So people holding faith with Racing Point, hoping no penalties down the line for them.
It is the bold pick, but I suppose if you've gone this deep into it, why back out now? Yeah. You've only had one bad week with Nico Hulkenberg.
Why back out now?
Stephen backed out now.
You backed out now.
Ah, yeah, but I backed out now. Well, I kind of backed in.
You're back in, but you backed out.
I backed in the back out. Back out.
It was as soon as the protest was... we'll cover it in the... Well, no, it's kind of part of the review because it was affecting my team last week. It was when the protest... It was the initial announcements of the protest has been upheld, but there was no news on it. It was like, more to follow. It was like, oh no, get them out of the team now. They're going to have all their points stripped. There was like 15 points gone from one race. And that's it.
And that doesn't even affect fantasy.
No.
Didn't even affect fantasy. So you're safe with Racing Point, basically.
Prices are fine.
They are fine. Right. That pretty much rounds up the review. We're done with the British Grand Prix.
Yeah.
We're done with Silverstone. It's over.
Bad couple weeks.
See you next year. And I hope it's better for fantasy. But we move on to the Spanish GP preview.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So obviously, like we said in this section, we'll give some top picks, guys to avoid, turbo picks. Obviously, some of the guys to avoid... I think our guys to avoid worked well. I know Charles Leclerc is there, but I still think, value for money, you're going to go Max or Lewis.
Yeah.
Certainly on that front, even Valtteri probably is a safer bet for that front. But we'll get into top picks from now. So, Stephen, should we get it out of the way? Top picks, Mercedes, Hamilton?
Yep. Obviously, it's going to be hot again in Spain. Another scorcher of a race day. So you may think Mercedes could struggle again like they did last weekend, but they're going to go back to the harder compounds. So if we think 2 weeks ago, that Silverstone, even though it was cooler that day, it's kind of more comparable. Mercedes should return to the top. But you never know.
Should.
A lesson should be learnt from this Silverstone as well. Mercedes are very good at going, that was wrong, correct it.
Should.
But
no, they're still the safest bets in the market to kind of go on there. Now, a guy who also is a top pick, especially for this weekend, is Max Verstappen. Last week was on a quali streak. This week is on a race streak. So that is a bonus 10 points to his score that he will score in the race. If he is able to find any way of overtaking the Mercedes again, and there is issues for Mercedes, then Max definitely comes into play. Certainly on that front. But also with Max, he's scoring pretty much comparable to the Mercedes in every race because he just consistently is getting in that top 3. So he's not a bad pick to have and is 6 million cheaper than Lewis Hamilton, which makes him a more preferable pick.
Yeah.
Frees up some more cash to be splashing the dough about, should we say.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it does look like the Red Bull can conserve its tyres a bit better, so you never know.
You never know. But in terms of top teams, that's all you can see. Charles Leclerc is incredible in the race, but for your money
He's
return...
still too expensive.
He's a gamble. He is a gamble. Just, he's a lot of investment for... Yeah, you can't even turbo him.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be getting in the top guys' points. Outside of that, again, Lance Stroll is a great pick because he is also on his race streak this week. So that will be an extra bonus 10 points for the Racing Point driver. And it does look like, you know, regardless of what you think of Lance Stroll, he's consistently finishing within the top 10, you know, when he's finished, bar the first race retirement, he's finished in the top 10 every race. So why bet against it to discontinue now?
Yeah, I guess he's a solid pick, and I know we're going to come on to your team, and he's going to be in there, but I don't know. He is on that streak, and you know, it's when you got to start looking out for those bonus 5 points you can start picking up. So it's a streak guaranteed, but I'm not feeling big points from Stroll. Onwards from Spain, but yeah, like fair enough. He'll be a top pick for Spain.
He's a good purchase pick to kind of get in there.
Yeah,
I think definitely. So, and outside of that, I do think Ricciardo. He had a bad race in the 70th anniversary GP, but I do think Ricciardo now is one of those guys that is a really good pick to have.
Yep. Other than his one mistake last weekend, I still think he's the best driver in that midfield and should be getting in that best of the rest 4th, 5th, 6th positions, although he's lost his streaks. So,
yeah, frustrating on that front in terms of the reset, but he's one you can monitor and kind of play around with. The McLaren boys aren't on streaks either.
no.
There isn't really anyone else on streaks. Ocon isn't kind of close to a streak either. So yeah, I think Ricciardo is just probably the more consistent guy in the midfield who you get a good return for. A bit more expensive, but he's a good return for that investment, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And then outside of that, again, maybe looking at the AlphaTauri boys, that AlphaTauri car is maybe starting to look a little bit better.
I can't believe it. It's a
complete U-turn.
It's a whole story arc here.
It's a U-turn.
First preview at Austria.
Get him out.
Don't pick AlphaTauri. Pick Gasly. But now we've come all the way around to pick AlphaTauri drivers. So on your don't picks, you're going to have to choose one of them.
I think Gasly is the one.
Out.
Gasly is the one to
get
choose.
Gasly. Don't pick Kvyat. Get AlphaTauri. Don't get Kvyat.
Kvyat's qualifying just is kind of struggling at the moment, isn't it?
Yes.
In terms of
obviously he's suffered from the deleted lap time, which could happen to anyone. But everyone knows the track limit, so no excuse.
Absolutely. There you go. And below that, it becomes difficult because someone like Kimi Räikkönen might score good points one week. The other ones, Grosjean does okay. Russell. It is so difficult down there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking who would benefit. Well, it's difficult because from the last two Silverstones, we had a cooler race, harder compounds. Then we had a hot race, softer compounds. And now we're going to have a hot race, harder compounds. So you can't really look back at the last 2 weekends. You could say Williams had a better race in the harder compounds. So they could have a better race at Spain.
But there's a lot of
maybes, ifs, buts, and maybes.
It's just having the right guy in the team at the right time.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think there's too much kind of predictably you can take from that. But that's probably the top picks. Who to avoid? Again, both Ferrari drivers. Alexander Albon still isn't worth the investment for what you get in him. If he is turbo driver worthy, it's still, I don't think, the price worth the points return that you'll get in there. Ocon still, I don't think, although obviously, you know, he was a good turbo pick this week, it was mainly because Ricciardo made the mistake.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be banking on another Ricciardo mistake for Ocon to do well, shall we say.
Yeah, and he's still a few races away from his own race streak. So, yeah.
So he's still probably one to steer clear. Carlos Sainz definitely steer clear of now.
Yep.
I don't think he's inspiring any sort of kind of consistent fantasy points.
Although home Grand Prix. But he just doesn't look like he's better than Norris. Norris looks like the best driver in that McLaren pairing. So you're just hoping for something. It's like hoping Bottas beats Lewis. It's not that extreme. But it's that, he is the second driver in that team. So can you bank on those teammate points? Maybe not.
No. Which moves us on to turbo picks. Turbo picks, straight out of the blocks, I'll go Lance Stroll is probably a safe one because I don't know whether it's Nico or Sergio racing this weekend, but whoever it'll be probably favours Lance a little bit more just because Checo would have been out for 2 races, but then, and like isolating, he wouldn't have been able to go to the factory or do anything like that. So he'll be a little bit, obviously not rusty, but a bit cold, probably, in terms of that. And Hulkenberg, again, he'll be better, but time management may still be an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I say Stroll's a solid pick because of that race streak. That should be 5 points in the bag. So you never know what's going to happen. Maybe he has an engine problem or something like that. But if he finishes the race, he's going to be in that top 10. He's going to have those 5 points, regardless of where the other teammate is or however he drives.
Well, yeah, the race streak is the big reason why you turbo Lance Stroll this week. But with Daniel Ricciardo, I think outside of that, he's probably the only guy I would kind of really look at and go, yeah, good turbo pick.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he's the best one in that midfield, so you'd expect him to get the best result minus any mistakes.
Absolutely. Best one in the midfield with the car underneath him, shall we say.
He also had a very good race on those harder compounds 2 weeks ago. So.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that would be our turbo picks, which now bring us round to our teams that we've picked ahead of this weekend. So, Stephen, would you like to start off with yours?
I haven't made any changes, but I may. If Checo comes back, I may get Checo. But at the moment, my team is Lewis, Norris, Ricciardo, Magnussen, George, Mercedes. So I'm thinking of keeping faith. I'm thinking of keeping faith in that team. Obviously, Magnussen and Russell not looking great, but they both look good on harder compounds. So I may keep faith in that team. I don't know.
I have been the one who's changing. Obviously, the past 2 weekends have put me behind the ball a little bit, so it's made things a little bit more difficult. So I'm now kind of chasing. Going to have to take a few more gambles in terms of it. So I've gone to bring in Max Verstappen for the race streak, but I've also brought in Lance Stroll in replacement of Lando Norris into the side. But obviously, turboing Lance Stroll this week will help get that minus 10 back, essentially, if he gets into the race streaks, which then means, essentially you could say you look at it that you lose 110 race streak there, or you don't maximise the benefit of turboing Lance Stroll. Daniel Ricciardo is also in there. Then it's Grosjean, Magnussen and Mercedes as well. So fingers crossed for a better race for Kevin Magnussen, and hopefully we see a better performance from Williams on the harder compound in harder compound as opposed to the softer compound that they struggled with in Silverstone. So fingers crossed on that one. It just changed up, and Max, if there's a time to play Max with the race streaks, he is Mr. Consistent at the moment, so go from there. So fingers crossed, I haven't just jinxed him and that kind of goes badly from here. But yes, Max Verstappen is my guy that I'm bringing in there, and also bringing back Lance Stroll into the fold, risking it with the racing points. But you know what time it is now, Stephen?
Rate your team.
Rate your team. So this is the part of the show where you guys submit your teams, and make sure if you want to be in next week's Rate Your Team, you're in the comments down below. I said I would send out a tweet on Monday. It's failed. I saw people go and rate your team, so I forgot.
Oh.
But next Monday, I'm gonna send out the tweet for Rate Your Teams in there. But if not, comment down below and we will rate your team. We have 3 teams to be rated today, so hopefully you kind of enjoys those, and we'll give our thoughts on that.
Nice.
So, first team to be rated is Philippe Gabois. I think I've said that right. He is from Canada, and Verstappen, Sainz, Norris, Ricciardo, Magnussen, and Red Bull.
It's double McLaren and double Red Bull with Max and Red Bull. I don't know. The McLaren race pace was slightly scary, not in a good way, at the 75th anniversary race. Where the hell are McLaren now? Was that just because of the heat, the softer compounds? Will they bounce back for Spain? I don't know. But I'm going to, because of the unknown, I'm feeling a 3 Kimmys out of 5.
I feel it's a 3 Kimmys out of 5 because having that McLaren risk and also having no Mercedes to kind of almost compensate it, yeah, 3 Kimmys out of 5 for that one, because they're not really cashing on the teammate points on there. And although Red Bull obviously topped the charts for this weekend, so positive on that one, the majority of weekends it is safer to have Mercedes because they will have a comfortable gap come the end of the season.
But maybe Spain, they'll be top scorers.
Potentially. Okay. Who knows in terms of that. But it's a 3 Kimmys out of 5 for Philippe's team. Now we move on to Jun Tan. And Jun Tan's team is Verstappen Mega Drive last weekend, so that was very positive. Ricciardo Turbo Drive didn't work out as well. Gasly, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, and Mercedes.
Who was the third driver in that?
Hülkenberg, Magnussen.
Well, you're going to have to tell me the team again.
Okay. Verstappen, Ricciardo, Gasly, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, and Mercedes.
I like it. I wanted Gasly in my team last week. I just couldn't afford him. I do think he was a very solid pick. He's looking very comfortable in that AlphaTauri. Obviously messed up on one of his stints of tyres. Hopefully he learns from that, and on the hard compound, which he looked very good at first Silverstone race, should make that good. In Spain, I'm going to give her 4 Kimmys out of 5.
I think it's a 4 Kimmys out of 5 as well, especially, you know, with that mega driver of Verstappen obviously used there. That was really positive for last week, so I think that boosts it up. A good use of Max Verstappen as a mega driver. But also, yeah, it's strong across the board. Magnussen, I'm hoping, you know, comes in and gets that consistent pick. He's got the Mercedes as the constructor. It just is a well-rounded. If anything I said, it's probably the wrong racing point, but if Checo comes in, then it looks stronger as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So 4 Kimmys out of 5 is a fair one for that.
Final team.
And the final Rate Your Team comes from C. Taggart. And he has Verstappen, Norris, Hamilton, Stroll, Hülkenberg, and Renault.
Oh, I was thinking when you said Verstappen and Lewis, I was like, something's going to give here. Obviously, you've got the 2 best drivers in the game at the moment. But Renault is the constructor. They're just not consistently... If they were consistently getting top 3, I'd feel like that makes the difference. But, you know, when Ocon has a good race, Ricciardo has a... Ricciardo and Ocon never seem to be together high up the field to get Renault those constructors points. I kind of want to do 3 Kimmys and a Robin.
I feel it's a 3 Kimmys and a Robin because the constructor is a real letdown, but the rest of the points getting scored by the team is really strong.
Quality drivers, yeah. It's just Renault. If they were just consistently getting high scores, that'd be easy for...
In fairness, Racing Point is still the constructor if you were kind of risking and going all in, because they tend to consider... Although Racing Point themselves haven't actually been in the constructors' top 5 very often.
No.
Which is confusing, so...
Because normally... Well, they've had a few cars that haven't finished race. So,
yeah.
Just like Renault. They haven't made the top 5. So
absolutely. But that is the end of this week's Rate Your Team. But we round off, as always, with our Kimi Moment of the Week. Now, last week, we had a consoling Kimi Moment of the Week.
It was emotional. Sometimes.
Reflecting on the current state of Kimi Räikkönen's career. At that stage, it was a world champion, finishing last in the Grand Prix. It was heartbreaking to see. Luckily, he finished P15 this week, so it was better. And scored well in fantasy, so bonus points. Yay! And that means we're on the up with a Kimi Moment of the Week, going back to 2006, when Kimi Räikkönen was still driving for McLaren.
Yeah.
It would turn out to be his last year for McLaren. 2005, he'd been fighting for the title, but reliability issues let him down. And 2006, reliability issues let him down worse. And we go to the 2006 Monaco Grand Prix. Kimi Räikkönen was doing well in the race, but his engine gives up on him.
Gives up in Monaco.
It says no. I'm not going to do this race anymore. And flames, and Kimi pulls over to the side. He is pissed. He is not a happy
Not
Finn.
happy.
Nope. So, Kimi Räikkönen naturally, he returns to the garage.
And what does he do?
No, he doesn't actually return to the garage.
Oh.
Kimi Räikkönen has a yacht in Monaco.
Ah.
Kimi Räikkönen just goes and sees his mates who are staying on the yacht and goes and has a few drinks while the rest of the Grand Prix goes on. He just sacks off responsibility. He's like, I can't be dealing with this. I'm out of here. See you later. Build me a reliable car. I ain't going to sit around in this garage while you're going to go, well, Kimi, that was a shame. You think? I retired.
He's got a point.
So he went to drink his sorrows away.
Yeah.
Classic.
Jump on his yacht.
Just they couldn't quite believe it in commentary. You know, there's camera panning going, where is Kimi? Kimi is out of his race suit and Kimi is now just chilling on a yacht. He don't care. The man. Could you imagine any of the drivers today just walking off?
Just walking off onto their yacht.
Yeah.
Quite a few live in Monaco.
I know.
They've probably got yachts there.
They could probably go and watch the rest of the race from a balcony.
They should do a Kimi.
They should. Do a Kimi. Do Kimi proud when Kimi's gone. They should all do it as a mark of respect in the season that Kimi retires.
Yeah. Charles should just, load up the live stream, go on Twitch.
Yeah.
Make some money.
Retires from the race, streams the rest of the race.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah, nice.
Oh.
Correct. Brilliant. But there is your Kimi Moment of the Week. One of those iconic stories that you go, did he really do that? Yes. The answer is Kimi literally walked out of a race that he retired in. I mean, heck, he weren't going to do any more of his part in the race, which was driving. So why not go and enjoy yourself, Kimi? I mean, I can't imagine that McLaren and Ron Dennis were too happy.
Well, they should have built a more reliable car then, shouldn't they?
They should have done. I feel like the relationship was already suffering, obviously, with Fernando Alonso. I don't know if he was already announced. I think he was, yes, because he was announced before. So with Fernando Alonso inbound, he was maybe a little bit cheesed off before as well. So he was going to Ferrari in 2007. He didn't care at this point.
Exactly.
But that's it. That's the Kimi Moment of the Week. That's your F1 Fantasy Weekly podcast. And that is it from us. So let us know how you did in the league this week outside of the top 10s. If you want your team to be rated on next week's Rate Your Team, comment down below and look out for that tweet on Monday. It may or may not be there. I'm going to go in with good intentions to do it. But those good intentions may fall short. But let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you guys as always. But we said it at the start. But a reminder, if you're new around here, or you're watching and you haven't done so already, what can they do, Stephen?
They can like, they can subscribe, and they can ding that bell.
Ding that bell. So for now, you F1 fans, keep racing.